Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the eighth instalment of Cannon Chat. Tonight, I'm joined by regular Was the Gooner, Warren. How are you, mate?
Hello. I'm very good, mate. I'm very good. As usual, the collar wank, and I'm hoping we're going to see more and more of it as the season progresses.
That's what I absolutely love to hear, mate. Cracking way to start the show. And, of course, new guest, Demi. Demi, great to have you on, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. 3 points in the bag. Starting my week well, so yeah, I'm good.
You were telling me on Friday evening that you've been travelling all over the world, I believe. Where is it? You've been?
Yeah, so back end of last year, I went travelling for 6 months. Done Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Burma, Malaysia, and Bali. So yeah, it was fucking wicked to be fair.
Dem, I'll tell you one place. There's a great place you go, and it's next Saturday. It's a place called Stoke. Yeah, it's a cracking place, mate.
I was just going to say, you can't stop a trip to Huddersfield away.
Not sure I can do it on a cold Tuesday night in Stoke. I'm much more of a Thailand person.
Anyway, Debbie, great to have you on the show, mate. Really looking forward to chatting with you this evening. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. Surprisingly good viewing numbers this early on, but yeah, great to have you all with us. And I'm sure we can talk about Arsenal with some justice this evening. I'll come to you first and foremost. It was a mental game to open our Premier League account with 4-3 at home to Leicester City. A lot of people looking at the negatives at Arsenal in this game, and maybe rightly so, but on the night, great way to win the game. What did you make of it, mate?
Absolutely incredible. I mean, like we were saying, we waited the whole summer, and yeah, the Community Shield was great, that at Wembley, but realistically, deep down, we all know it really is just a friendly. So this was it. It's what we've been waiting for months. Football is finally back. This was the real stuff. Friday night, new scheduling. We're there. First ever game on a Friday night in the Premier League for us. We're at home. We're excited. We're finishing work. We're all getting down the pub. The atmosphere is great. It's building. And then you get an absolute mental game just to settle you down for the season. I mean, crazy, absolutely crazy. To be fair, you couldn't write things like that. And as a fan, it was, I mean, for the neutral, it must have been incredible. Me, I went through every emotion under the sun in 90 minutes, like we normally do at the Emirates. But yeah, it was a long wait for the start of the season, and when it arrived, it hit us hard.
Demi, for you, would you rather win a game in that fashion, or would you rather Arsenal had won that game maybe 3-4-0?
Oh, well, obviously, 3-4-0 all day long, but let's be honest, when you're a goal down with 10 minutes to go, you're going to take coming back and winning it 4-3. So, and last 10 minutes, it's what you go to football games for. The stadium erupted. Giroud with the winner. I mean, I don't even know what happened. I think I clocked the guy next to me with my watch by accident. I was just going mental. So,
missed that all summer, really, just grabbing random people, beer going absolutely everywhere, mate. I've missed that so much over the past 10 odd weeks. But staying with you as well, Demi, what did you make of the Friday, 7:45 p.m. kickoff? We saw a few of them last season, worked to some effects, but never happened for us. What did you make of it?
I quite liked it. Yeah, it was good. Managed to get out of work a little bit earlier, headed down, had a few beers. For me, Saturday kickoff's always going to be the preferable choice. I still like that feeling of getting up on a Saturday, knowing Arsenal playing at 3 p.m. But still, it's a perfect way to kick off your weekend, especially when we win. I mean, if we'd have lost, it would have been 48 hours of suffering. But no, I quite like it. I don't want to do it every Friday, but every now and again.
Yeah, it was certainly nice to sit back once we got those 3 points in the bag and not really have to rely on other teams to drop points. I mean, watching that Chelsea game when we'd already won was glorious. The exact same for Liverpool's result. I mean, it was just nice to sit back, chill, relax over the weekend, knowing Arsenal have got those 3 points in the bag, and we've got plenty of time to recover for that game on Saturday against Stoke. But as I say, great to get 3 points in the bag. Coming back to you. It's been a bit of a turbulent pre-season. I mean, after that game against Chelsea, where we beat them 2-1, the optimism around the club was on somewhat of a high. Going into that game against Leicester on Friday night, how were you feeling about it?
I couldn't help but feel still, even though we won the Community Shield on the penalties, I still felt that we were slightly underprepared, and I was very alarmed to see two left backs and a rookie in our back central three, despite knowing since May that Koscielny was going to be suspended, despite knowing that Mustafi was at the Confederations Cup and allowing him to have an additional rest without getting him back and fit and ready in time, knowing that Gabriel's been injured and he's been out for a while. I was just a bit alarmed that we was facing a similar situation to the season before when Holding and Chambers were the pairing and they were two rookies. And I just hoped that we didn't leave ourselves exposed. And realistically, we probably did leave ourselves exposed. But at the end of the day, if you score 3, we scored 4. So we got away with it in a sense, in my opinion. And I did feel that it was underprepared and a massive risk because we've notoriously not had the greatest starts to the season in recent years, and we've had quite a few dodgy results. But luckily this time we got out unscathed, and I'm just hoping that going forward to the weekend we will have some of them centre-back options back available to us. And I was especially surprised that Callum Chambers weren't in the squad, given that we were playing Kolasinac and Monreal in the back central three.
Coming on to you, Demi, I think it's a great point that was makes there about having Monreal and Kolasinac in the back three. Two essentially fullbacks. Kolasinac played a lot as a wing-back last season for Schalke, and that's kind of where I want to see him playing more and more and more for Arsenal. When he played against Chelsea, I know he was still playing left centre-back, but he was just immense the way he bombed forwards, his attacking prowess. Just to play him as a centre-half for me, I know he's got the build, I know he's really strong, but that's just hindering his progress. For a young guy as well, only 24, that would hinder his progress and potential in my eyes. So for you, I mean, it's been a constant problem with Arsene Wenger playing players out of position. He's done it time and time and time again. Where do you see Kolasinac's future in this team, and what for you going into that game against Stoke would be the most preferable back three?
I think I'm with you, Stu. For me, he's a left wing back. He should be secondary. Should be if he fits in at centre back and emergency situations. But the way he goes forward, he's an absolute tank. You need to get him up and down that left wing and bullying their right backs and the right midfielders and have a proper centre back behind him to give him support. So when he goes forward, he doesn't have to worry about coming back as much as playing at left centre back. I was as shocked as used to when I saw both Monreal and Kolasinac playing at centre backs. I just thought it was, especially like you said before, was with Chambers not in the squad at all. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's had a few dodgy games for us, but I don't think he's put that much of a foot wrong to not be picked at all. Not when you're playing two left wing backs in his position instead. But yeah, I think going forward, he's got to play left wing back. I think Monreal can play left centre back. And for me, Mustafi's got to come back in, or Mertesacker, one of those two has got to play rather than playing both of those. And I also don't think Ox should be playing left wing back. He's not a left winger. I mean, he's an attacking midfielder as he is. It's another, like you said, it's another player being played out of position.
Yeah, more inclined to agree with you there, mate. One thing I do want to touch on as well, staying with you, Demi, is Monreal. I think he's perfectly suited for that left centre-back role. As he gets older, he doesn't have to rely on his legs so much in that position. He's got cover from someone like Kolasinac as well on that left-hand side, and I see that position being his essentially for the rest of his Arsenal career if he can perform to the level that he did last season, especially towards the tail end of it. But for you as well, to start him in the heart of a back three, just as good as he was against Chelsea, just utter looked like lunacy in a way to start him there. Somewhere he's never played before, apart from that game against Chelsea in the Community Shield, which is essentially a glorified friendly. Do you think it would have been so much of a risk to play Mustafi in the heart of that back three?
Look, I think it's hard for us to answer that because you don't know what his fitness levels are like. I mean, if Wenger had picked him and he'd come in and he'd have picked up an injury, we'd have been sitting here slating Wenger for picking him too early. So tough one to call. But I do think that Wenger's had all summer to plan for this. I know Mertesacker's picked up a knock really late on, but we're an Arsenal Football Club. We shouldn't be in this situation where you're playing two left wing backs at centre-back in the first game of the season. And we shouldn't be in a situation that we've done it at the start of last season, Holding and Chambers. I think that's the bigger problem. I think where we can sit here, I can't say Mustafi should have played because you just don't know what his fitness levels are like. If he'd have come on and pulled a hamstring, we'd have all been absolutely screwing. But I think the bigger problem is that it's 2-3 years in the trot now that we haven't been prepared for the first game of the season. And that's got to come down to the Arsenal Football Club, Wenger, whoever. Someone's got to take responsibility for that.
Coming back to you, we've now conceded 7 goals in our past 2 opening games of the season. And that is evidence enough that this team is constantly underprepared going into the first game. And Arsene Wenger continuously says that he wishes the final day of the transfer window was the day before the start of the Premier League season. Do you still think that we need to invest in another centre-half? Because you look at that back three, it doesn't fill you with a load of confidence. But on the flip side, do you think as well people have been massively overreacting to the goals that we conceded, considering we didn't have Gabriel, Xhaka, Chambers, Koscielny, Mustafi, all of our top central defenders playing in that back line?
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, mate. I mean, I was extremely frustrated with the manner of the goals we conceded, the way we conceded, but they were all completely understandable given the scenario. And although Monreal is playing left centre-back, is very, very different to being in the heart of that, in that back three. And when he's playing left centre-back, he's allowed to push in, step in, win the ball on the front foot. But when you're central, you've got to sit off and you've got to command. And poor old Rob Holding, he had no one to put an arm around him to calm him down, to relax him. He kept giving the ball away early. He was getting more and more in a hole, and nobody was helping him. No one was sort of saying to him, calm down, boy. But personally, with regards to signing a centre-back, if a top quality centre-back was available, and I mean real top quality, 100%, I'd love to go out, and unfortunately we would have to sacrifice someone. I'd even be open to seeing Rob Holding go on loan to get minutes and bring in a real experienced, proper centre-back. But then again, I do think we have got strength there, but a lot of it is relying on fitness, because Gabriel keeps picking up injuries. Koscielny is a fading fitness force, really. You got Mesut Ozil, who's in the last year of his footballing career. It's difficult to rely on these people. And personally, my first choice back three would be Mustafi central, which not a lot of people would agree with. But the reason being is that I think a lot of his flaws in his game are where he's too aggressive and he's forced to calm himself down, much like David Luiz at Chelsea, when he sits a bit deeper, and then he's got the time on the ball and he's good on the ball. Then probably Costa to the left of him and probably Gabriel, although that is going to be shocking for a lot of people. They won't like that, but I do think he's got a lot of potential. And in the three towards the end of last season, especially the semi-final against City, I thought Gabriel was man of the match. So there is options there, and young Rob Holding's done brilliant. Chambers is looking more and more likely that he'll leave the club, which is frustrating for me because I really like him. But yeah, I mean, obviously, anyone that you can improve the squad with, I think you just have to do it. And unfortunately, at times, you have to be a bit ruthless.
Demi, coming back to you, was made some fantastic points there. An interesting one about Rob Holding would be open to seeing him go out on loan, considering he was a sort of a revelation for us towards the back end of last season. Still only 21 years old. Would you be open to opening the door for someone like Rob Holding?
Look, he's 18, isn't he? 18, 19?
21.
Well, he still should be starting every game for a team at Arsenal. He's, as a centre-back, he's only going to get better as he ages with experience. It's not like when you've got a 21-year-old attacking midfielder who literally plays on flair and doesn't have to worry about what's going to happen. He makes one mistake and things can go wrong. So yeah, I think a loan would be good for him, but I just think with the situation we're in, we can't really give it to him at the moment. I mean, as was just said, Koscielny and Mesut at the end of their career, they're going to pick up knocks this year. They're not going to be able to play week in, week out. There's no way we can if Chambers goes, there's no way we can let him go. I personally think we do actually need a centre back, someone that can cover Mesut or Koscielny, or even replace them, a world class one to come in and actually be a bit ruthless and just say, look, Mesut, it's your last year, but you're not going to play because we've just spent 50, 60 million on whoever it is. I do worry that's that three at the back. If Koscielny gets injured, he's the one that carried us for the last few years. I think we could be in trouble. I really do.
Do you worry about that defence, considering that Koscielny's coming up to 32, Mesut is coming up to 33? We've got inexperienced players in Chambers, Holding. I mean, there's not a particularly good balance there. The only players in their real mid-20s are Gabriel and Mustafi. But beyond that, it's a bit of a mismatch. Do you worry that maybe that this defence isn't going to last for the long term?
100%. We've got one season left in, really. Koscielny. Well, Mesut retires at the end of the year, and then Koscielny, with his hamstrings, he's not going to last much longer. Especially when he is a lot on pace, he uses explosive pace to sometimes correct errors that he's made himself. So yeah, definitely. I think with what looks like Chambers leaving, I mean, he's been left out the squad quite a bit recently. He's probably gone. You've then left with just Mustafi, Gabriel, and Holding as the youngster. So yeah, there's definitely room there for another centre back, because those two, the other two, Mertesacker and Koscielny, won't be fortunately be able to play much longer for us.
So for you, Demi, what centre back would you be looking to bring in?
I'd like to see the Southampton guy. I think he's what's his name?
Van Dijk.
Yeah, that's the one. I think he's a calming influence on the ball. I think he's a top quality defender. And actually, I think he would come in and could do like what Mertesacker kind of plays. So strong on the ball, plays it quite well. But is he worth 60, 70 million? I mean, are we really going to get him for less than that? Well, more importantly, is Wenger going to pay that for a centre-back? Probably not. I think the biggest thing at the moment is we all know what Wenger's like. I can't see him dropping 50 million on a centre-back, which is what you're going to have to do to get a world-class centre-back these days. And that's the issue. For me, I reckon he'll go out and try and get another Chambers or Holding, if anyone. Or another Gabriel, someone might not as known as what some of the others are.
Okay, well, so coming back to you, let's take a little bit of a brighter look at Arsenal. Scored 4 goals in the game despite conceding 3. Lacazette, Welbeck and Olivier Giroud all getting on the score sheet, as well as your main man, Aaron Ramsey. So that's all of our attacking options pretty much that were available to us getting themselves a goal. What do you think that, although Welbeck couldn't really miss his chance, what do you think that says about Arsenal's striking force this season?
It's good that we're sharing the goals, and I think this formation is a massive, massive key to it. But we'll talk about the attackers. I just want to quickly talk about Granit Xhaka, who was involved in all 4 goals, and the importance of that guy. I mean, when you look back at the goals, obviously the first goal, he sprays a right-footed pass right across the Bellerin. You're a minute and a half into the game. Xhaka's popping up, and by the way, he covered the most distance out of any player in the Premier League.
7.6 miles.
Yeah, and he pops up on the left wing, cuts inside with his right foot, pings the ball over to Bellerin. Great touch into El Neni, smashed it across. Great header from Lacazette. Then the second goal, you see him again picking up that position. Xhaka, he drifted out to that left wing. Ozil finds himself in acres of space on the edge of the box, not by mistake, into Lacazette. Turns well, tries to get his shot away, bobbles off. Our big mad Kolasinac getting in there. Fucking a great assist, lovely assist. Welbeck does his best, finishes it off. Third goal, yet again, quality ball from Granit. And then the fourth goal, the corner from Granit. So the importance of this guy to the system it's incredible. And if we lose him, we are in drastic trouble. But
whilst you're on that point of Granit Xhaka, I've spoken to a few opposition fans since. I've spoken to a few Arsenal fans as well since that perceived him as having a particularly poor game because he gave the ball away. Some would say that he was at fault for the Jamie Vardy goal, the second one they conceded from the Michael Brighton cross, and maybe rightly so. It was his loose ball, but also, let's not forget, El Neni kind of forced that situation in the first place. What would you say to people that not only have doubted the signing of Granit Xhaka, but have doubted him not just in the opening game, but throughout the course of the season?
I think the other day was another prime example of him being misused by Arsene Wenger. And despite him, he looked like he didn't have a great game. He had a massive impact on the game. Like I said, he was heavily involved in all 4 goals, and you can't underestimate that. But for me, I don't want to be seeing Granit Xhaka covering more distance than any player in the Premier League. That's not what I want him to do. And that's me personally. I think that he should be utilised like a Xabi Alonso, like Pirlo, someone who's going to sit in front of the back 4 or the back 3 centre-backs. He's going to distribute. He can hit the ball long. He can play short through the lines. He needs the legs alongside him. Now, El Neni covers a lot of ground, but he doesn't do it very intelligently. Doesn't provide the link. He doesn't get close enough to the strikers. He had a much better game, Mohamed El Neni, but he's still not that guy. And Granit Xhaka is being forced. He's running all over the shop, and it just creates a disbalance. And it does look like he's having a poor game. And like you said, with regards to the second goal, it was a terrible ball from him out wide, but Hector Bellerin's bombed on. El Neni's played a blind 3-yard pass when Xhaka is completely under the press, either of them, and then Xhaka's played a blind pass, so both of them are at fault there, both of our CMs, and Bellerin's bombed on. But yeah, with regards to Xhaka's performance the other night, like I said, it's great that he's got them statistics, the distance covered and all that, and his impact in all 4 goals was absolutely brilliant. But personally, I want to see him more reserved. I think he's less at risk of getting booked when he's like that. He's more intelligent. He's got the whole picture of the game ahead of him. and his ability to deliver a ball and change the switch to play is underestimated. And I'll tell you something now, Nemanja Matic is probably the only guy in the league that can come close to replicating the job that Xhaka can do. So we're very, very lucky we've got him. And this guy we've still got to remember, it was his first season last year. He's still young. He is getting better and better and better by the game. But all I'd say is please, Arsene Wenger, play Ramsey alongside him, or play a box-to-box midfielder who can actually impact the game at both ends, and let Xhaka sit and just let the guy, he's 6'2", just let him just be the brilliant footballer he is, mate. But yeah, I thought he was very good the other night, but I can see why people have reservations. But it's because he keeps getting, you see him in areas of the pitch you don't want to see him, and that was mainly down to, for me, his partner.
So coming back to you, Demi, how much do you worry about? I mean, it's just one injury away, one hamstring injury away from Ramsey or Xhaka being out for a month or so, and that could just completely disrupt our whole system. And we're back to playing Ramsey, Coquelin, and playing all these midfield pivots that we know don't work. Does that spark cause for concern for you?
Yeah, 100%. I think Xhaka's probably our most important centre midfielder. Ramsey gets it. I'm a massive fan, as we all know Woz is, but I'm a massive Ramsey fan as well. I think he's top class when he's going box to box. But I think if we lose him and we have Xhaka, we can probably get by way round, and we're in a hell of a lot of trouble. We haven't got anyone that can, especially when we get pressed, we haven't got anyone that can move the ball quick enough, play those long balls out. You can't put a Coquelin in there. You can't put El Nini in there. The only other person we've probably got it is Wilshere. And, I mean, you just don't know how long he's going to stay fit for, unfortunately.
And do you think that Jack Wilshere will even remain on the club beyond this summer?
Probably not. I mean, it doesn't sound like him and Wenger are getting on as much as they used to. I think last year it all broke down. I've seen lots of links with Newcastle lately. I don't know. I think for him, he needs to go and play football. I love the boy to bits. I'd love for him to stay and have a season fit. Him and Ramsey to be rotated. Even him and Xhaka at some points. But I think we've overplayed him when he was younger. We've sometimes not maybe allowed him to be fit properly, and we've rushed him back. I think potentially he could be gone this summer, which is the last couple of weeks, which is a shame because he's an Arsenal boy through and through.
Yeah, a real shame, mate. Was for you. I know we've spoken about Jack Wilshere a lot in the past, but just get your final thoughts on it, really. Is he someone that you want to remain on at Arsenal Football Club this summer? And if so, given his injury record, what can he offer to Arsenal Football Club?
Thing is, Cookie, for me, he's our most versatile midfielder. He's got the lot, and we've seen him produce. He's had games. The thing is, we're in a situation where we do not need to rely on Jack Wilshere. We don't need to rely on Jack Wilshere to play 50 games this season. That's not the scenario we're in. So to lose him out of this squad would be, for me, absolutely ridiculous. This guy has played holding midfield for his country. We've seen him play in there, and against lesser sides, I've got no issue seeing Jack Wilshere sit in that Granit Xhaka role, protected by 3 centre-backs, playing the ball about. We've seen him playing the box-to-box role, and he does it very well. And we've seen him get goals from deep midfield. He started doing it quite a bit. He got a couple for England, and he got some for Arsenal. And then also, at the earlier stages of his career, he played at number 10, and he was absolutely fantastic. He used to tear teams apart at the under-21 level. And Jack is so versatile, and he offers so much to this midfield, and he can offer balance in any of the 3 positions. So I just think it would be absolutely devastating to lose someone like him, because really, I mean, excuse the pun, but he is a jack of all trades.
Does it not worry you, though, that if we keep him, that Wenger won't go out and buy another CM, and then he'll go and get injured, and Ramsey will get injured?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Dem, I agree with you, mate. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
my biggest worry is he stays and gets injured, and you know what Wenger's like. Wenger won't then go and replace or buy a world-class CM, and we'll be stuffed when it comes December time. Yeah,
I completely agree with him. Personally, mate, I think we can probably upgrade on Coquelin and on anyway. So I'd certainly be getting another player in. But what I'd be saying to Jack Wilshere is, look, Jack, we've got X amount of Europa League games. We've got FA Cup. We've got League Cup. There is absolutely no reason we're going to be playing 60 matches this season, Arsenal Football Club. easily, without fail, he could be playing 25, 30 games, 25, 30 appearances. No two ways about it, because there's so many games. I remember last season, early start of the season, we were away at Leicester City. We're drawing 0-0. Bring on, the game's stale. We bring on Jack Wilshere and Mesut Ozil, and my God, the difference that Jack made with that drive and that burst through midfield. We haven't got a player that can get the ball and drive and beat past people. Ramsey can run, but he doesn't take the ball with him. Jack carries the ball. He can carry the team through the pitch. And yes, this might be a Jack Wilshere of a few years ago, but I'm personally of the opinion that we've got the time to get this guy fit and keep him in the squad and in and around, and he will get back. And even if he only gets back for 15, 20 games, that will help us on our march towards any trophy this season.
Funnily enough, just got a comment was saying that Jack Wilshere looks particularly underwhelming for the under-23s tonight. If he's not performing at that level, even though it is kind of his first game back since that injury, I mean, can we read too much into that, or are we?
Nah, it's irrelevant.
Too soon?
I think his performance at that level is irrelevant, Cookie. I mean, it's all about fitness. It's all about getting minutes under your belt, and it's all about. This is why I never understand these Capital One Cup teams where you play 11 kids. I mean, why would you do that? If you genuinely want to develop a kid, you should play a strong side and ease them in. And the thing is with Jack, it's like back the other way. You put a player like of Jack's ability in with a team of young kids who are up and coming. It's difficult, and he's not gonna. People are not gonna. The thing is, Jack's not going to go down to that level and score a hat-trick and boss the game, because it doesn't work like that. That's just football. And he just needs minutes under his belt. He needs to get fit. We're going to have so many Europa League games. And I really, really genuinely do hope that we don't lose him this summer and he can get back in that first team, because playing Jack Wilshere alongside, I'm not too sure who played CM with him tonight, but if you're pairing him with Granit Xhaka, I can tell you something now, it's going to be a damn sight more comfortable and better for him.
No, definitely inclined to agree with you, mate. And hopefully, if Jack Wilshere is to remain at Arsenal beyond the end of the transfer window, he can have somewhat of a big impact in this squad. But coming back to you, Demi, Lacazette scoring 90 seconds into his Arsenal account. Brilliant debut from him. Beyond his goal, I mean, I've seen a lot of people say that he didn't have too much of an influence in the game. But for me personally, had a great chance to score a second goal, linked up really well when Olivier Giroud came on. Exciting player to have in his Arsenal team, and how much of a confidence boost will it be for our Frenchman up top?
Yeah, massively. Scoring within a minute and a half. I mean, that's what every striker's dream, isn't it? Get off the ball, get the first goal down. But I actually thought he played quite well. I mean, his goal record for Lyon kind of states, was it 90-odd goals in the last 3 years or so? I mean, I don't think the finishing part was what worried me. It was what I was impressed about more was his energy, how he got across the pitch. He was defending from the top. He was holding the ball up well. I actually felt he offered parts to his game that I didn't really think he had, or wouldn't show as much in the Premiership really well on Friday night. I thought his build-up play and the way he got involved might not have been involved every second of the game, but I thought when he got back, he won the ball, he moved it on quickly. Him and Welbeck linked up quite well. I was actually quite impressed. Much better than I thought it was going to. I thought it was just going to be a typical fox in the box, not be involved at all, just take his chance when he gets it. But actually, I thought we showed a little bit more about him on Friday, which was impressive. Would
you be inclined to agree if that was?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more than happy to eat my words if he continues to play like this, because he surprised me, and I'm pleased with how quick he picked up with the physicality, because he's playing against two big centre-backs. I was pleased with the way, like Demi said, he hit the nail on the head, really. I mean, he was constantly on the move. And Verd's, I mean, he sits in the upper tier and he loves the atmosphere, but he loves looking out at the game and he loves watching the way it develops. And the first thing he said to me when we come out of the ground was Lacazette was absolutely fantastic. And I'm in the lower tier, and obviously can't sort of see that. It's almost like he's playing Football Manager up there, if you know what I mean. So he's looking at the way everything moves up there, and you do see it down the bottom, but not as much, and you can't appreciate it when you see him making bursting runs and things. And he was absolutely over the moon with his performance. But obviously, like Demi said, when he did get on the ball, his link-up play was good. He was involved in quite a lot of moves, and that fantastic move when Ramsey played a brilliant ball through to Giroud, who made a fantastic run in behind. What a layoff from Giroud, and his feet. He got it out of his feet and hit the shot. It was so unlucky, and it was tipped over the bar. And that was literally the corner we scored the winner from. So, yeah, he really did really did impress me, and it was beautiful to have him tie down the centre backs for. And by the way, he was getting kicked lumps of by Maguire, and they were just constantly on the back of him. But he stood up and he stayed strong, and he kept in the game. And I was glad he didn't come off. And in the end, he probably went a long way towards wearing down these defenders for our other big French guy to come on and bully him.
Yeah, sadly that lead didn't last too long. Demi, what was going through your minds when Okazaki scored that typical Okazaki goal to make it 1-1?
What the heck was Czech doing? That's literally... honestly, I know we're playing two left wing backs, fair enough, but he just come flapping out. I have no idea. Literally, what was going through my head is, where's Szczesny? Szczesny would have claimed that. Like, Czech is frustrating at times because his Chelsea days, he was the best keeper in the league. But he hasn't really shown that form since he's come over, since he's joined us. The back end of last year, he made some cracking saves. But I still don't think he's the keeper that's going to win us the league. I think he makes too many mistakes still. I'm worried that he gets down too slow. He doesn't really command his area. I mean, he doesn't really seem to tell the centre-backs what they should be doing at all. Yeah, I was literally going mental at Czech. I don't even know who went up for the header with the Leicester player at all. Like at that point, I just lost it. I was just, all I could see was Czech coming out and just flapping. Oh yeah, as you can see, I'm getting annoyed again. Frustrating as hell.
Not too long after that as well, Demi, we scored the absolutely atrocious goal where Oneni plays it into Xhaka. Xhaka puts it across field. It's intercepted by Albright. Cracking cross, to be fair, not cut out.
Yeah.
And Vardy makes it 2-1. I mean, dare I ask what was going through your head at that point as well?
It was frustrating. It's just us once again having a bit of a press against us and not being able to play out. Especially, I mean, we all know Xhaka gave the ball away, but it started off before that. I mean, Elneny's pass was just him being scared of having the ball. Just get it out. It was. I do sometimes worry, I guess, when we get pressed against teams high energy like Leicester are. I mean, Liverpool, since Klopp's taken over, is another team that does it to us every single time. Yeah, just frustrating. What was going through my head is typical Arsenal. Score within the first minute, and then there's no control of the game. There's no us keeping the ball for 10 minutes. There was no real control, no leadership. But yeah, frustrating as hell. But I still felt at that point that we could have won the game. I didn't feel like we'd thrown the whole game away. I felt like this team, there's a few players in it that I do think that can pick up the rest of the team by the scruff of the neck and drag them through it. I think Xhaka's, as was said earlier, for me, I thought he had a really good game. And the way he gets the ball and controls the game and moves him around, it's a bit like the way Arteta used to do, just slow the play down when he needs to, speed it up when he needs to. So yeah, I was thoroughly pissed off and I was cursing like hell. But I still felt that we were going to get back into it. And one of the things I thought also was quite good, which is a bit off topic, but now I don't go to as many games as what you used to probably do, but I felt when we went down, the crowd was still right behind the team. I honestly felt like we were still going for it. Even when we went 3-2 down, 10 minutes to go, we were actually quite loud. I know everyone always takes the piss out of us for being quiet, but we were still right behind the team. And yeah, and I think that sometimes makes a difference. I honestly felt there was such a good atmosphere on Friday that we did for once drag the team back into it.
Yeah, that's
rather than get on their back.
That's a really good point you make there, mate. I found sitting in the North Bank, I don't know if it was just because I very rarely sit in the North Bank and the atmosphere there for me was unbelievable compared to where I've normally sat in the clock ends. Was for you, was it very much the same?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've been sat in the same seat for years there and all the guys around me as well. So, do you know what? The Emirates is never as bad as people make out. It's a bit of a... I go to all the away games as well, and every single stadium, there's very few home fans that are raucous. Old Trafford's a morgue. Anfield's silent, barring singing "You Never Walk Alone." Stamford Bridge is just the worst out of the lot. I mean, it's a thing that is all over. I mean, City of Manchester, they barely even sell out. It is a thing that is within the whole league. And when the Emirates gets going, I mean, the noise after we scored that winner was absolutely astounding. And I'm not sure it was. I saw someone tweet about it. It might have been Giles Well, someone was saying that they saw Lacazette just stood there looking into the North Bank when we were singing after we got the fourth goal, and it is a sight to behold. And as a fan, the feeling of getting that fourth goal, and like you said earlier, Cookie, just clattering into random people, cuddling them, and you knew at that moment football was back. But yeah, I mean, the Emirates ain't as bad as everyone makes out. Granted, at times it is very, very quiet and it does need a spark. But yeah, Demi was right. We did stick with the guys and at 2-1 down, and that goal was it was vital to get that just before half time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about those two final goals we got coming through. Aaron Ramsey and Olivier Giroud, two brilliant substitutions. They were kind of no-brainers that Arsene Wenger had to make. For you, how vital was that? Well, not just Ramsey's, but Olivier Giroud's contribution going to be this season?
Absolutely huge, and you could see in that game alone, it's a different proposition for these defenders. I mean, within a minute of Aaron Ramsey being on the pitch, he made an unbelievable run in behind, and Lacazette picked him out of a great ball, and he got his head to it, he just didn't quite get on the end of it. And all of a sudden, their centre-backs are thinking, well, hang on a minute, there's another guy coming from somewhere now, and does the midfielder track him? Does the centre-back step up? It creates carnage. That third-man run, something that Frank Lampard absolutely perfected throughout his career, untraceable, and Ramsey is an expert at it, and he is world-class at making that run, and you cannot deny that. So straight away, it's creating danger. And funnily enough, Olivier Giroud, despite being 6'4" and really not very explosive, he half makes some intelligent runs, and we saw him do it in the cup final. We saw him do it again when he linked up with that layoff to Lacazette and Ramsey's ball through to him. It's a different proposition, and also, I mean, Giroud, he's the only man in our team, and probably we'll do well to see a better header than what we did all season at the Emirates. It was absolutely astounding the way he brushed aside Maguire and Wes Morgan. It was just astonishing. He had two blokes hanging off his nipples, and he just powered the header straight into the top bins. Absolutely sensational. But yeah, Giroud is massive, and I'm so happy he's staying. And for me, there isn't a settled first choice centre forward because it's horses for courses, and Giroud needs respect. He needs a lot of respect because there will be games. I remember going to Burnley away last season and Giroud was out and we had Alexis Sanchez up front and we struggled like mad. We didn't create, we were getting kicked all over the park. And in the end, we got a scrappy winner with a offside handball in the last kick of the game. But that's a game for Giroud. I mean, Lacazette can certainly play there, but I just think sometimes it's nice to have a little switch up. And I've said it many, many times about Olivier Giroud. I compare him massively to Edin Dzeko during the years that City was so dominant when they had Aguero and Dzeko, the two options, and the amount of times and the amount of games where Edin Dzeko scored vital goals. And Giroud's done it himself over the last few years, but now he's in a situation where we do not have to rely on Olivier Giroud and we do not have to rely on Lacazette. So I'm pleased, and especially with Aaron Ramsey. You know my thoughts on Ramsey. The only thing I want is for him to stay fit. So if he's on the bench for the odd game, that's fine. I'm a little bit concerned that El Neni would be the other option. But, I mean, Ramsey, you could see immediately when he come on. And that goal, the pass from Xhaka, the technique, mate, he's feathered that ball with the outside of his foot. It's absolutely... Oh, it's beautiful to watch. When I was watching, I was just like, oh, look at it. It's so nice. And then Ramsey's first touch, that's so underestimated. To get that out of his feet, I'll tell you now, we've had a lot of players wouldn't have done that first touch. He's got it 2 yards. When you're playing as a kid, they teach you. When the ball's coming to you, 3 o'clock, get it out. Bosh, what a finish. Put it through it straight away. Good, great celebration. Up we go, and we're back in the game. And then we like I say, Ramsey again instrumental. That ball over the top to Giroud, the brilliant layoff. Lacazette, great effort, wins the corner, and there we go. It all went. And I don't know why everyone was looking at the linesman, considering there's goal line technology, and the ref's clearly got a watch. And for some reason, everyone was focusing on the line. I didn't. To be fair, I thought it was in straight away, so immediately.
Yeah, same. I was going mental the minute he headed it.
Yeah, I was cartwheeling all over the shop, mate. It was carnage, but I did have to take a little look over my shoulder just to make sure I weren't the only one.
The way he celebrated that goal as well, I mean, it says a lot about his affiliation with Arsenal Football Club. We've heard a lot of rumours this summer that he was, linked to West Ham. He was linked to the move away from the club, and to see him celebrate a goal like that just truly shows. I know it sounds incredibly cringy, but he obviously has got so much admiration for this club. And I think that's massively reciprocated nowadays. A player that's always been underestimated, been underappreciated during his time in the club. And I think now he's got this role where he's coming off the bench, scoring goals. I think we're finally starting to give him, Arsenal fans are giving him the value that he deserves, and he is going to be massive for the club this season. Absolutely massive. Don't get it wrong. A player that's very rarely injured, always gives his best. And I think with Lacazette, Alexis Sanchez, Danny Welbeck, even Theo Walcott, we've got some brilliant options there. And you know what? It really excites me. The one thing that didn't excite me so much, Demi, was when we did bring on the likes of Aaron Ramsey and Olivier Giroud, it completely tore our defence to bits. We ended the game we took Rob Holding off, ended with Monreal and Kolasinac as two centre-backs, with Bellerin playing left-back and Oxlade-Chamberlain playing right-back, all over the place. How many times have we seen Arsene Wenger do that when we're really gunning for it? He's done it. He did it against Man United in that game when they should have won about 3-4-1. Giroud scored an unbelievable goal in that game. That's one that really sticks clearly in the minds. But the amount of times he's panicked and he's ruptured the defence just to bring on more attackers. We ended the game with so many people up front. Theo Walcott, Olivier Giroud, Lacazette.
What scares me about stuff like that is that we're never really a structured team. We don't ever really defend from the front that well. When we're at our best is when we have a solid back four that we can build up from. When you look at that defence and you had Bellerin at Oxlade, it was just like, don't get me wrong, like lucky enough we got out of it and we scored two very good goals in the end. But yeah, it could have been a very different story. You've got to think what goes through Wenger's mind sometimes. But once again, it comes back to preparation. Like he hasn't tried that during the summer. What's he doing? Yeah.
Well, staying with you, Demi, we've got a comment saying that considering we did end the game with a back four, maybe that's something we should be looking to utilise from now on. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think we should be more fluid in the way we play anyway. The 3-4-2-1 or whatever you want to call it. I think we need to be able to switch that into a 4-2-3-1 when and as the game needs it. Especially if we're chasing a game in the second half. You don't want three centre backs. You want that extra attacking midfielder on. How he's going to do that, I don't quite know. But I mean, if you put Monreal left centre back and then Kolasinac left wing back, you could push him up into a left wing position and go 4-2-3-1 like that, or even sacrifice one of the defenders. So yeah, I definitely think I'm hoping, and this is massively hope, but because we know what Wenger's like, that he is working on that in the training ground, and it is something that we're going to see more of, and we might even start a few games at 4-2-3-1 and just mix it up. It wants to be a bit less predictable this year.
Was for you. I mean, we've got so many options we could line up this season. We could play a 4 at the back, we could play a 3 at the back. One thing I noticed on the opening day of the season, particularly on Saturday, even though that wasn't the opening day, but following on from our game against Leicester, the amount of teams that lined up with a back three, so many teams are doing it now. It's becoming more and more predictable. Do you think that maybe that's going to be a hindrance to us? And would you agree with Demi in saying that we should be that bit more unpredictable and look to play a 4 at the back more often?
I think we've got the options to certainly do that, and I think that the 4-2-3-1 for me would suit. If you're looking at playing a sort of second string in quote side, if you had Welbeck on the left wing, Giroud up front with Walcott on the right and Mesut Ozil in behind, that's fantastic. And then you've got the options. I mean, we haven't seen Alexis Sanchez kick a ball, but yeah, I think the flexibility and take a note of this date. What's the time? 10 to 10. I think Arsene Wenger got it spot on. I actually do. I think I think he changed to 4-2-3-1. I thought, despite the personnel issues, which clearly were big issues, I think the reason he switched Ox and Bellerin was just to provide something different, a different type of an outlet. We had Theo Walcott out on that right-hand side, so all of a sudden the full-backs are thinking a bit more. And unfortunately, where we did have two left backs again at centre-back, there was a personnel issue. But this is only... We can't read into that too much because... It was a bit of a crazy game because of Arsene Wenger's. I'm not going to completely praise him because of the way we were underprepared for the situation. But I will give him credit for changing that up. And when you've got Giroud on the pitch, personally for me, I think for the last sort of 4 years, he's not utilised him correctly. And get the ball wide, get the ball in the box, create the space for Mesut Ozil to play in the middle, and we could be good. But
you reckon that's why he put Ox on the right?
Yeah, just to get we saw what he'd done against Manchester United. Remember when Ox come on and he got to the byline. We provided that double up, Mesut Ozil out there, and it gives Ox a space to whip a ball in. And I just think they've been worrying about Bellerin's pace and Bellerin, but it's a different proposition to someone like Ox who will dribble with a ball. So I think it was just to keep them on their toes and going 4-2-3-1. Yes, it was a bit of a mishmash, but we soon saw Granit Xhaka. He looked more in control. He looked. I mean, we saw by the assist that he was in that position, and Ramsey was making great runs, and it just looked a bit more fluid and a bit more exciting. But again, I think a lot of it is personnel, but I think you just got to take every situation as it comes. And it for me, it was nice, and it was the first time ever that I actually saw and understood that Arsenal had implemented a different formation and approach in the last sort of 15 minutes. Because like you say, normally he just throws attacker after attacker on, and it's just like, go on then, we've got five forwards on, let's see if we can score a goal, and it don't work. But yeah, I will praise him for that, and it worked out. And I just hope that we are going to Stoke, a place where we will not get away with being underprepared, and we're going to be there with centre backs, and we're going to be strong. And I think personally, I do think that we could play them off the park like we did last season.
One player that I particularly want to hone in on before we bring this conversation to a close, Demi, is Callum Chambers. We spoke about him at the start, omitted from the squad ever since his cameo appearance in the Emirates Cup. A player that's got proven Premier League experience, had what I would regard as a successful loan move to Borough last season, and simply wasn't given a chance, not in the matchday team whatsoever in that game against Leicester. I'd certainly be looking to bring him back into the frame of things for that game at Stoke City. But for me, looks like a player that his Arsenal days are numbered. These aren't good signs for Callum Chambers. I mean, how much... I think it's a ludicrous decision to be getting rid of him. And I don't know if you're in agreement with that, Demi.
Yeah, 100%. I think we've got a young English centre-back there that in a couple of years' time, we could be regretting that if he goes. I think he come in and he was put under a lot of pressure. In his first season with us, the first opening games, he was thrown in the deep end and actually performed well. He's then got switched to right back and got burnt for pace, and his confidence went. And ever since then, he's not really been given a proper look in by Wenger. He's been put in central midfield. We've really mucked him about in some big games, and he's been killed because of it. And I thought last year, Middlesbrough, he was one of their better defenders. He had a really good loan season out there. He played for the England under-21s. I thought he was going to come back, and I thought we'd see a bit more of him. I really did. But, I mean, has he played? I think he played about 45 minutes in pre-season, didn't he?
I think he only got 20 minutes as well in the Emirates Cup. I think that was about it.
Yeah, so, I mean, it doesn't look good for him, does it? I mean, if you're only going to get 20 minutes of pre-season and you're playing two left wing backs to centre-back, it doesn't really say that Wenger trusts him. So it looks like he's gone, which is a shame. I mean, if he does go, I really hope at least we put a buyback clause.
Or even if it's just a loan, another loan.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But then I can't see Wenger loaning him if he's not played him any pre-season. It really does mean he doesn't trust him at all.
Do you think maybe, I mean, Rob Holding's not played any pre-season either, essentially. He was, of course, with the under-21s. I mean, do you think that plays a part in it?
Yeah, it must do. But then Rob Holding's come back straight back into the matchday squad. Unless he's injured, which if he is, I don't know about. But you'd think that, I know Chambers actually plays in the under-21s and Rob Holding really didn't. But you'd have thought he at least would have been on the bench on Friday. This year, I'd quite like him and Holding. One of them will probably have to go out on loan if we keep Per and Koscielny as first choices or thereabouts. But yeah, I think he's going to go, which is a shame. I think if he does go, at least have a buyback option so we don't get absolutely mugged off in 5 years' time when he's England's starting centre back. Because I think he could be.
And for you, I know you're a big admirer of Callum Chambers. I think all three of us are in agreement here that he's got a place in this Arsenal team for this season. With the Europa League, with cup tournaments coming up, he's going to get minutes. There's no doubt about that. But Arsene Wenger seemingly doesn't have the same mindset that we all share. For you, how much of a shame is it going to be to see Callum Chambers potentially leave the Emirates Stadium this summer?
Yeah, I think a lot of our players in our squad we're quite emotionally attached to because they've been here since they were young. But with Callum Chambers, Arsenal splashed out £16 million on him, and he really believed in him. And he was playing that season before he joined. He was playing at right back for Southampton, and he threw him in the deep end, like Demi said. He was fantastic around the Champions League qualifiers. He really put in some good performances at centre back for Arsenal, and like Demi, he hit the nail on the head. He took a bit of knock with the confidence, but he had a similar start to the one that Rob Holding had, and that's why I'm a bit reserved about Robbie Holding, because I saw his performance the other night, and he wasn't surrounded by natural centre backs, and didn't have someone to put his arm around his shoulder, and games like that will haunt him, and I'm hoping that we don't see that in that scenario too often, which is why I think that we do need would invest in a centre back, and I think Chambers has had the year of development on loan. He spent the year at a side like Middlesbrough, and I think that would aid Rob Holding, and I just think that Chambers has served his apprenticeship, and he's at a stage where he's ready to play games, and whether that's first choice or whether that's a squad rotation, I'd be more than happy if we brought in a centre back and kept him, and like you said, Europa League, League Cup, he played in them games because he's ready to play. He really is. He played last season for Middlesbrough, and he's a good lad. He's good on the ball. He's calm, composed. He's intelligent. He doesn't panic me. I like him a lot, but let's see what Arsenal does, because yeah, he's brilliant on the ball. He's absolutely brilliant on the ball.
Just that pass he played in the Emirates Cup, evidence what he can do.
Well, exactly, mate. He's very, very talented, but we do need to cut some players out of this squad. But for me personally, I'm not sure he would be one of the ones facing the chop.
Yeah, when you look at the likes of Debussy, I hate to say it, Kieran Gibbs, Lucas Perez, these players that seem to be destined to leave the club, you would hope we could free up enough wages to be able to hold on to develop someone like Callum Chambers. For me, it would be a huge loss to lose him. But another player that has come under a lot of speculation today, a player that started left wing back in the game against Leicester City and in the Community Shield as well, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. James Ollie reporting that he has been subject to a £35 million bid from Chelsea. I'll stay with you on this one. Would you cash in on Oxlade-Chamberlain?
It's a very difficult question, because you know my thoughts on the Ox, and I do. I'm like everyone else. I do see potential, but it's been 6 years at our football club now, and I think really it's more of a sentimental value, and everyone's hanging on to potential. We see glimpses of it, but he's had glimpses of it before. He's never put in a sustained run, and people say he hasn't had a run in a team. He has. He had more than ample opportunity. When Theo Walcott done his cruciate ligament, he started 17 of the first 21 games the next season, and he just got 1 goal and 1 assist, and he didn't kick on. And now he's been pushed to right wing back, where I know Bellerin's getting a bit of stick at the moment, but I'll tell you something now, Bellerin will be miles ahead, because he's just warming. Forget he's not had much of a pre-season. He played out at the Euros, didn't he? So look, Ox he's a bit of an enigma, because is he a central midfielder? Is he a right wing back? He's playing left wing back. He's a very good utility player, but realistically, if you're being offered £35 million for him and you can reinvest, then I'd be inclined to. But the only issue is even if Ox stays, I still think if we are looking at a 4-2-3-1, we're very, very short, and I'm just hoping he ain't going to be utilising Gabriel or even Chambers or Maitland-Niles at right back, rather than, because obviously Debussy and Jenkinson will probably leave the club, but it's a difficult one for Ox. But I think £35 million at this stage of his contract, I think is quite a fair deal, and I think people are more afraid to lose him because of what he could be, rather than afraid to lose him because of what he is.
Yeah, I'd say the one thing that really frustrated me about Chamberlain's game against Leicester was that he does everything right, apart from the thing that's most important, the final ball.
He always has. He always has.
Yeah, that's always been his problem. If you could combine Theo Walcott and Oxlade-Chamberlain, you'd have one hell of a player there.
You'd have Douglas Costa.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain with that. But the way he kind of progressed a little bit more towards the end of last season, he had a very decent game against Manchester City in the semi-final of the Cup. If he was to be given a prolonged period of time in the more suited right wing-back role for him, it would be interesting to see how he develops and if he could hold down a place in this team. But again, competing with Bellerin, 2 great options to have there, but one of them is going to be left very unhappy. So for you, Demi, with £35 million on the table from a direct title rival, would you be inclined to take that?
I think that's the scary part, isn't it? It's the direct title rival. If we send him at 35 million, he goes over there and he contributes them to winning the league or finishing above us, then it all of a sudden makes it a really bad deal for us. Last year, the contract though, it's a tough one because, as was said, it's all potential. He could be 6 months away from exploding into the player we've all seen. But we've been saying this since he first joined from Southampton. Frustrating as hell sometimes with his end product. I mean, how many times did he shoot from outside the box on Friday and absolutely sky it? Or he whipped in with his left peg and he wasn't really looking at where it's going. He's just getting the ball across the box. Would I sell him? I think at this stage, probably not. Just because I don't trust Wenger in getting someone in to replace him. If this was 6 weeks ago, then potentially yes. Just because if he hasn't signed a contract by now, is he going to? Are we going to lose him for a free next year? 35 million for someone in the last year.
Damn, that's the thing. That's the thing, mate. I was going to mention to you quickly. He's in 6 months' time. He's free to talk to other clubs. And do we really want? We're going to be facing a scenario with Alexis Sanchez, Mesut Ozil, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Aaron Ramsey, all these players. They could all in January. They could all be talking to other clubs halfway through our title challenge, halfway through our season. And how disruptive is that? And I mean, realistically, that's what I'm saying. £35 million now, or he goes for nothing to Chelsea in the summer.
My biggest worry is if we do that, we sell Ox and we keep Jenkinson as backup.
God.
I honestly can't see Wenger going out and who's he going to
Look, Demi, mate, I love Carl Jenkinson, but I'm very well aware now at this point that Jenkinson and Debussy do not have a future at the club. They don't, mate. They really don't.
Say that, but if we don't get someone in, what are we going to do? What's his name? The youngster.
Maitland-Niles, Maitland-Niles.
Get Lee Dixon out of retirement.
I reckon we might get a game.
Well, I'll tell you what, on that note, let's move on to some of the questions. First time we're taking questions on this, so very much looking forward to it. One question that we got right at the start of the video was with regards to William Carvalho from a question from Majib Ahmed. He's reportedly going to West Ham United in what looks to be a £30 million deal. We've been in and around this guy for a number of years now. We've never really made a formal approach for him. Was for you, are we missing out on a gem there?
He looked like a gem a few years ago. I'd sort of compare him to Wanyama, which is where he's in and alongside someone else. He's a powerful, strong athlete, but for me, he's not really the kind of ball playing defensive midfielder that we would need to sort of rotate with Xhaka. But yeah, I mean, it's touch and go really, because he's quite similar to Coquelin in a sense that when he's deeper, it's a similar sort of playing style where he isn't as good on the ball, but he is a bit of a destroyer and he is powerful. But look, I think it would be a very, very good signing for West Ham, and if we did sign him, I wouldn't be upset. But I just think that it's one for £40 million that I wouldn't be too bothered about seeing him go elsewhere.
And staying on the topic of transfers, the next question we've got in from OMN19 for you, Demi, is what players should we be looking to buy this window? So
I'd like to see us to get that Seri guy from Nice. I heard their president come out apparently in January and said that he's got a €40 million buyout clause, and if someone matches it, then he's gone. I haven't watched him a hell of a lot, but I have watched him a couple of times, and we've all done the YouTube clips. So let's be honest. But I think he could be someone that could complement our midfield and drive us forward. But I think our biggest, for me, we've got to get someone in to replace Xhaka if he gets injured. I'm not sure that can be at this point. I mean, I haven't seen any link to anyone that screams out a Xhaka replacement. But I just don't want to see Coquelin and Ramsey play again, not as a pair. I think we've all been through that enough. Replacement for Xhaka though, I think it's a tough one. What about you? You know of anyone that's perfect?
I'd say perfect, but I'll definitely take a chance on Grzegorz Krychowiak because I like that guy a lot. He's a similar stature to Xhaka, and he's at PSG. He's not playing football, and I'm not sure if he'll be available. And I think that'd be a cracking signing as a backup and a rotation, because he's very similar. He's very good on the ball. He reads the game really well. He really impressed me. Every time I watch him play for Poland, he really, really impresses me. And that could be the type of player. But I think it's a very specific, if we're going to stick with this formation, it's a very, very specific player we're looking for. Someone who can sit in there and have the picture of the game ahead of him. And there's not many players out there, and like Granit Xhaka, which is why it was such a fantastic signing. And we're seeing a system that suits him a lot. So, yeah, it's a difficult one to replace. But I wouldn't mind Krychowiak from PSG if he's available. But again, he's getting these players in and seeing, because, like you said, I think that for me is key, the Granit Xhaka issue. Because if we lose him, we're facing a bit of an issue.
One question I've got here that I think is, I think it was written from the gods for you, was from Tyrone. Says, discuss Ozil and how weak he still looks. He goes down so easy. A strong wind blows the, I won't say it's a rude word, on the ground with his hands up.
Don't sign Mesut Ozil £42 million to be maraudering into tackles, mate. For me personally, I look at Mesut Ozil. He had a poor game, one of his worst games for a long, long time. But I think we've got to give him some time to get back to fitness. He's had quite a bit of illness over pre-season, and once Ozil ticks, I mean, that is the best thing for me about the other night. We scored 4 goals, and Alexis Sanchez and Mesut Ozil really didn't. Obviously, Alexis weren't even on the bloody pitch, but I mean, Mesut, he just didn't tick, and he didn't look himself, and he didn't have a great game. But what Mesut Ozil does do is he still does a lot of things that do go unnoticed. And like I said, with that second goal, when you watch it back, when Xhaka gets the ball up on the left wing, you can see Mesut Ozil so intelligently pick up that space on the edge of the box, between the lines, between the defensive midfielder, between the centre-back. No one can come out to him. No one's deep enough to him. Once he gets the ball in that space, he heads up and he slots it into Lacazette. One touch turn, and we get a goal out of it. So little things like that Mesut does that go unnoticed, unfortunately go unnoticed, because all people do see is when he gets bullied off the ball, which is probably far too often in the Premier League. But Mesut Ozil isn't there to fight and to be a grit. He's there to be a beautiful playmaker who you can create and unlock defences and give space, and you work the team around him. I just love the freedom that he's got and the way he plays. So he's going to get fitter and he's going to get back to his levels. I ain't worried at all about that, and I think he's going to have an absolutely fantastic season.
Tyrone has followed that up with, I'll bring this one to you, Demi. Straight away, he's loving it. My question is only about his strength, not anything else. Why is he so weak?
I don't think it's just him being weak, though, is it? It's just some players are not built to go toe-to-toe with people kicking him in the air. And let's be honest, players of his calibre do get kicked quite a lot. I mean, I remember reading quotes when he first comes to the Premiership, and he was saying that the first thing he noticed was he got kicked to the floor, and the ref goes past him and says, "Get up, mate, you're not in Spain anymore." Be targeted because he's one of our best bloody players. You're going to have to kick him at some point. I just don't think he's suited to that type. He's never going to be. He's never going to be an Alex Sanchez that will bully his way through 3 or 4 defenders. What he does offer you is, before he's even got the ball, he knows exactly where the next pass is going. He knows where the run of 2 other Arsenal players are going. And he spots things that, let's be honest, some of us don't even spot it when we're watching it on Sky Sports. And yeah, he makes us tick. And when he plays, I know Sanchez gets all the headlines quite a lot last year, but when Ozil was on form, he's the person that makes us tick. And that's what you pay 40-odd million for, as was said. Yeah,
Dan, what quickly touch on that. One thing I would say about him is he has bulked up a lot, and he's a hell of a lot fitter than when he joined from Spain. And he's took to this league and he's adapted himself. He spent a time at left wing. He's played in the middle. There's been players, fantastic footballers like Jose Antonio Reyes come into the league. He was a brilliant talent, kicked out of it. And Angel Di Maria come in, unbelievable, probably the best left winger in the world. Couldn't handle it. Maybe that was partly down to Van Gaal, but also Mesut, I think he's done brilliant to adapt himself and take on the English game. And I think he does love it. He does have passion inside him. He's not as emotive as other players, which I don't think helps him, because he's not the kind of guy that's going to be effing and blinding and running around. He's just
You
sort of
say
there.
that he did it a fair bit last season. We saw that a bit more from him.
Yeah, I think, and that's what people like to see, and even I like to see that. I love to see a player game. Do you know what I mean? But he's just there with his eyes, his little eyes sticking out, and he's just blissfully going about his business. And I love Mesut, and I'm not too worried about the physical sides of his game because he covers so much ground. He covers every blade of grass. He's constantly on the move. He's constantly looking for space. So the less he's near other opponents, the better, and that's why he's so good at what he does, because he's elusive.
Yeah, I mean, just have my personal take on that as well. I think with the players we've got now, with Kolasinac, with Granit Xhaka, with even Ramsey as well, these players that can offer protection to someone like Mesut Ozil, especially in this formation where we play with three at the back and then Ozil and Alexis occupy those more freer roles behind someone like Lacazette or Olivier Giroud, Danny Welbeck, whoever. I think that really does play to his advantage, and I think it's why we saw him play some very exciting football towards the back end of last season. We saw him creating more. We saw him getting on the score sheet. That goal he scored at Stoke away, absolutely wonderful. Hopefully, he can replicate that this Saturday. But yeah, I mean, I think Ozil will go down as someone that the typical fan looks at and thinks, oh, he's weak. You look at him, yeah. But if you truly admire and appreciate what Mesut Ozil does and what he brings to this club, then you can put your agendas to one side for one moment and look at what he brings, and instead of just focusing on the negatives of what you perceive. So yeah, that's just my personal take on it. But one final question I've got, and it's more of a statement than it is a question. And I'll come to you both on this one actually. To Demi first. Ozil is not suited to our style. Oxlade-Chamberlain could do a better job in that role.
No. Just no, really. Ozil is perfect suited to the way we play football. Chamberlain, I mean, let's be honest, he'd dribble past a couple of players and then misplaced pass. Yeah, I don't know what game he really watches, if I'm honest.
Was for you, I bet you're... I can see you fuming, mate. Crack on.
No, it's just everyone's entitled to their opinion, and it's the way we perceive the game. And personally, I think that's ludicrous, but that's me. I love Mesut Ozil. I think when Mesut Ozil ticks, Arsenal tick. He's vitally important. That ball from Granit Xhaka into Mesut, and he needs the right people around him as well. He needs runners from deep going past him. He needs link players. Like every player succeeds better when there's the players that work around them, and you can't just stick one world class player in a stupid system with a load of other players. Not saying we have, but what I'm saying is you won't get the best out of him. And when it ticks and when it works and when he's got Alexis closer to him and when Lacazette's moving in behind, when Ramsey's making runs beyond him, when he's getting the ball from Xhaka in acres of space, turning round, and he's got the wing backs maraudering on, there's not one player in the world I would want on that pitch, on that ball, at that time, other than Mesut Ozil.
That brilliant was. And on that note, I think I'll bring the show to a close there. It's been brilliant chatting with you both this evening, just over an hour long, and thanks to everyone that's tuned in tonight. Great viewing numbers on a Monday evening, and it's just been a pleasure talking to you and with the lads as well. Demi, great to have you making your debut appearance on the show. Where can people find you on the old socials, mate?
Sorry, I lost you there, mate.
No worries, mate. Where can people find you on the socials?
Oh yeah, it's Demi_V on Twitter. Yeah, follow us if you want. I'd chat probably just as much shit as everyone else that follows Arsenal Football Club. But yeah, no, thanks for having us, mate.
No worries at all. Are you going up to the game on Saturday?
I'm not. No, I am finishing off moving my flat, so I am currently in.
No worries, mate.
It's gone.
Hello.
No worries, mate. All right. Well, that
What's
was
that?
that was.
What's
beautiful.
happened?
I don't know. It's all gone wrong in the last 3 minutes of the show. You just couldn't go.
I'm still here. You can speak to me. I'm still here.
All right, well, as always, always a pleasure chatting to you, mate. I think people know at this point where to find you, but for those that don't, where can we find you on Twitter?
Don't bother. Don't bother. It's not worth it. Just speak to me on here if you fancy it. That's it. I don't like it.
And presume you'll be going up to the game on Saturday.
Yeah, me and them will be going up there, so we're looking forward to it as always. Going up to Stoke, yeah, it's like going back to the Stone Ages with cavemen, with They hate you up there. It's awful, awful place to go. To be fair, their fans give a good atmosphere, but the wind comes careering in. It could be 50 degrees outside and it'll be about 10 inside. It's horrible there. And I hate Stoke away, but fingers crossed we go there and do what we done last year, and we come out of there with 3 points.
Oh, I'm glad to hear you're looking forward to it, mate. Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to it as well. Sadly, not going to the game, but we'll be supporting the boys from probably my living room. Yeah, looking forward to that one. Hopefully, we can get a win. Should get a win. Make it 6 points out of 6. Anyway, guys, as I say, please be sure to follow Demi and Was on Twitter, and we'll be back next Sunday or Monday. Hopefully Rob's recovered from his Community Shield hangover still, and we can get him back on the show. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. It's been a pleasure. Drop a like on the video. Please be sure to keep updated as well for my preview of the game against Stoke City. Be releasing that at some point later in the weekend. As always, thanks for tuning in. Thanks to the lads as well, and we'll be speaking to you very, very soon.